Tag TV and Tag Radio. Be seen and heard by both technology users and technology producers throughout the state of Georgia and around the world. Low cost, big benefits, powerhouse online branded video and audio has arrived. Tag TV, Tag Radio, there's a lot more to know. This edition of Tech Talk is brought to you by GlobalSpeak.com, new media consultants, corporate video and audio communications, video and audio production and distribution, live and virtual event production. Tag TV and Tag Radio is a service of GlobalSpeak.com, creatively delivering powerful marketing, video, and audio solutions. It's hammer time. Dun, 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 dun. Can't touch this. Well, in one way, that's true. Our GRA Tag Business Launch Competition Final Four interview series continue as you learn about a potential disruptive game changer that will have the competition gasping at the technology, saying, can't touch this. On the other hand, touch like you have never experienced it before is what this startup is all about. From a prototype built in his apartment while at Georgia Tech to a technology that is uniquely pressure sensitive, meaning not just where you place your finger or pen or brush, that's right, brush like an art brush, but how hard you press. It's the GRA Tag Business Launch Competition Final Four. Georgia's version of American Idol meets up with Shark Tank for 6 hours of tension-packed presentations and mind-blowing entrepreneurial innovations, not to mention a winner that walks off with $50,000 and a huge part of a suite of service packages worth another $400,000. Greetings, everyone. It's Tuesday, May 17, 2011, and this is the annual Final Four Championships that all the visionaries, entrepreneurs, and tech innovators await with anxious anticipation year in and year out, like Iron Chef, Dancing with the Stars, and Celebrity Apprentice, all rolled up into an explosive device with a fuse you watch. Get closer and closer and closer till it ignites. Boom! And the winner at the end of the day is announced, and he walks away with $50,000. That's right. It's the GRA Tag Business Launch Competition, May 24th. You don't want to hear about it the next day, not when you can be there and experience history for yourself. Our special Tech Talk Big Launch warm-up round series continues as Technology Association of Georgia President Tino Mantella introduces you to the four outstanding finalists on Tech Talk one at a time. Pin Drop Security, Audit My Books, Socket, and on this edition, ViscidTech Technologies, a pressure-sensitive touch technology that fundamentally changes the way humans interact with electronic devices. Up to the Tech Talk, Tino speaks with Ian Campbell, founder of ViscidTech, a 2008 Georgia Tech MBA and Masters of Aerospace Engineering grad who developed the technology right out of his apartment and founded the company just this year. Awesome innovation, fresh just out of the box thinking, real-life entrepreneurs, and a panel of world-class judges. Oh, and did I mention $50,000 handed to the winner that same day? It's the GRA Tag Finalist Series as Tino Tech Talks with Ian Campbell, founder of ViscidTech.
Ian, thank you for joining me on Tech Talk today.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me.
And first of all, I want to congratulate you for being a Final Four, our business launch competition finals coming up at IBM on May 24th. And it's a great accomplishment. We started out with 87 companies, and now it's down to just 4. I assume you guys are excited and ready to go with that.
Yeah, we're pumped and nervous at the same time. It's been a thrilling experience.
So many of our listeners probably do not know what your company does, so I think that's a good place to start.
Sure. ViscidTech, we market a revolutionary pressure-sensitive touch technology, and it solves key pains for manufacturers in the $4 billion market for touch tech. So our technology is less expensive, uses less power, and it's more intuitive and more feature-rich than competing technology like capacitive touch and resistive touch solutions. And
go ahead, say a little more about that, because I think for our laymen out there, what if you best you can, what exactly happens with your technology?
So the way our technology works is it actually picks up the pressure differential in a fluid membrane when you press it. So if you can kind of picture almost like a balloon or a bubble pack that you would ship products in. If those were sensors, as you press down on them, you could actually pick up the pressure difference within each of those bubbles. So it kind of works like that. And when we start creating arrays of them, we can do cool stuff with it, like put it into touch pads and touch screens and other applications.
Well, you have a huge market. You said, what, $4 billion, and it's really for the manufacturing space. So what are the benefits to the manufacturers like Apple and BlackBerry incorporating your technology, your touchscreen technology solution into their devices?
Right. So the primary benefit is just cost. We can provide a cheaper solution that performs as well as existing technology. It's just cheaper in terms of the electronic interfacing that you'd have to purchase to scan a touchscreen. And it also enables something called 3D gesturing, which is a pretty unique concept it's actually emerging right now. And what 3D gesturing is the ability of your touch surface, if that's an iPhone or an iPad, to actually recognize how hard you're pressing into it, not just where you're pressing it. So it kind of gives you a third dimension. And it does cool stuff like it helps you scroll more easily through documents. So instead of doing the swipe motion to flip through a document on your iPhone, you can just press down harder to scroll at a constant rate that keeps up with your reading speed.
Very good. Where was this invented? Was it at Georgia Tech or you?
Yeah, actually, it was separate from Georgia Tech. I actually put the first prototype together in my apartment when I was engineering and MBA student at Georgia Tech, and never really did anything with it until much later when I started looking at the touch space and kind of the interface space and realized that there's an opportunity to cover some white space with this solution. So in 2010, I left my position at a consulting firm here in Atlanta and pursued this full time and actually focused on creating the first product that uses this technology called RageGauge. And since 2010, we've made some really good progress. Actually got RageGauge to market, so it's on sale now. And we're moving on to other more interesting applications of the technology.
In the mobile device, is that your prime market, or does it have a lot of applications broader than that?
It has pretty broad applications. I think mobile devices and touch screens is probably our sweet spot, 1 or 2 years out. But before we get there, we've got a lot of work to do to penetrate other lower barrier markets. So RageGauge is a pretty good example of penetrating a low barrier market, which is like toy video game interfaces. And we can attack that market now, which is what we're doing, and then kind of build our product revenue, our war chest, to go after some of these more lucrative markets in the future. But yeah, the technology has applications in medical devices, industrial automation, consumer electronics, not just touch screens, but any kind of touch surface. So a touch surface on your oven at home, that's a capacitive touch surface now. Well, it could easily use our solution.
And you said it's less expensive. What's the reason for that?
The primary reason it's less expensive is just the scanning processor. So every touch screen requires processing circuitry to scan the touch screen, and it actually scans each node one by one. And the more nodes you have, and then the actual architecture of the touchscreen solution, that puts demands on your processing capabilities. So as processing requirements go up, cost goes up, power consumption goes up. And what we do is we actually reduce scan time. You can read our sensor directly without having to spend a lot of time on it, as you're scanning through that grid. So we can reduce processor requirements, and that in turn reduces cost and reduces power.
And where are you with the development? I mean, I know you're out with, since you're working with RageGauge, is it you consider it a beta test, or are you beyond that at this point? Are you still developing the technology?
The technology is becoming more mature, so our next step in our development process is to actually create a touch pad. So this would be a non-transparent touch pad or a digitizer, kind of like what computer-aided designers use for drafting. Mm-hmm. There's some other competing products on the market now from companies like Wacom. They have these tablets where you can literally draw into a computer-aided design environment like Photoshop or Illustrator. And we're developing a touchpad that uses our Viscid Touch solution does basically the same thing. It just competes at a lower cost, a lower price point, and it has a more feature-rich ability to detect how hard you're pressing into it. So you can use other styluses beyond just the magnetic pin that comes with a Wacom tablet. You can use pretty much any art object, so like a brush or a putty knife, whatever.
And do you have, for the manufacturing aspect of this, I assume that you have to have a manufacturing partner to develop that, or how does that work?
Yeah, we've got actually 2 manufacturing partners overseas that are currently developing or producing rage gauges for us, and they can easily switch over to one of these other product designs that we're going to be bringing out later this year. So we've got that set up and ready to go, and then as we move into the transparent touchscreen space, actually make touchscreens that would go onto a smartphone or a tablet PC, we'll be seeking out a strategic manufacturing partner at that point. It's a little bit of it's a higher technological hurdle.
So we always like to ask the new companies, what's the most difficult aspect of moving a company forward from your point of view? Is it the marketing, or is it the new hardware? I mean, what's the aspect that's been most challenging?
This has been very challenging from a number of different angles. I mean, the first hurdle you have to get over is just the technological hurdle, actually getting everything to work together nicely and repeatably. And then I think the biggest challenge after that is just generating awareness of the technology solution and actually generating demand from the market. And we're doing that by introducing the technology in kind of a fun, easy-to-understand way, which is this rage gauge product. It's something anybody can hold. They can touch it. They can feel it. They can see how it works. And it's just another step to put that same type of interface into another OEM manufacturer's products. So
with the business launch coming up, I'm curious, I'll be in the audience that day. Are you going to be able to have an interesting visual demo on this, or how will that work?
Yeah, sure. We'll definitely demo the rage gauge. We're working with a development partner to create some pretty unique games that take advantage of the pressure-sensitive nature of the interface. So it actually becomes a really compelling and new way to interact with physical games, and I'll be demonstrating that at the GRA Tag Business Launch Competition.
Very good, very good. Well, congratulations on the progress of your company and being part of the Business Launch Competition. Hopefully all your friends and people listening out there today will come and join us on the 24th at IBM. It's always a good event. And in fact, this year we're going to have a People's Choice Award, so people will be able to vote from the audience in addition to the judges that we're flying in from all over the country. So best of luck on the competition, and thanks for joining me on Tech Talk today.
Great. Thanks a lot, Tino. Appreciate it.